1214, 1217, 1218, and 1219 are council member contributions. Any questions or information requests on those from my colleagues? All right. We'll likely try and take those together on Wednesday in a block, barring any questions or anything specific about any individual one. All right. Asking to amend the funds in the allocated in the 2022 infrastructure bond horizontal and vertical project. Again, it appears that this one wants to open up the entire project list. Is Councilmember Bond on the call with us today? Okay, and then also the second one, 1216, is trying to do the same thing, asking for the MLK pedestal and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. That's to look for additional funding sources for that. Any questions or information requests from my colleagues, or any comments just in general from the department on either of these two papers?
Yeah, this is Doug Nagy from ATL DOT. Yep. So just to be clear about what these two papers say, the bill that passed with the infrastructure bond in December unanimously said each district council member gets $3 million in discretionary funds. So the issue at stake in the first one is whether those discretionary funds include at-large council members or not, right? So it would reduce how much each district council member gets in order that the at-large council members can have their own pot of funds there. I think that's a minor change to the public. It's still just council discretionary funds. It's more up to the district council members whether they're willing to give up money for the at-large council members to have their own bucket there. But that's the question there. The second one is if a bucket existed for at-large council members that I think the Councilman Bond is trying to spend, would like to put those two projects on his list for that. Gotcha. So okay. I think they either have to go together. The first one is like necessary for the second one or whatever. And there's also the potential that if these two specific projects are if we want to fund them, this is not the only way to fund these two projects if those individual projects are worthy.
Thank you, Mr. Nagy. I appreciate that clarification. I would ask them your last comment, to the extent that you and finance might by Wednesday or whenever consider that if there are additional sources that if y'all want more time to kind of look around both these papers.
Yeah, so one of the issues that has happened in the past is that projects were added to the list without budgets. So if you look at like the old Renew list, they would just have, here's 20 complete street projects and how much was for complete streets. And it led to a horrible experience of all of that. So I'm very nervous about any projects that don't have a cost estimate done first. So I think they should be held at least until there's a cost estimate so we actually know how much we're talking about.
Okay. All right. That's helpful. Okay. Any other questions or requests for information from my colleagues on those two papers now that Mr. Nagy's clarified it a little better? All right. I look forward to a robust conversation about that. All right. We've talked about the contribution papers. That gets us to item 16, 22-0-1220. Councilmember Hillis's paper regarding the Atlanta Beltline SSD funds, transferring that. Any questions or requests for information from my colleagues? Who from the department will be speaking to this?
Yolanda Carr from Finance will be speaking.
Great. Okay. All right. I look forward to hearing from her.
Thank you.
Next item, 22-0-1221. Mr. Bond's paper, and this is from Geo Bond refunding series. Who from the administration will be speaking to this one?
Finance will be speaking, and Chief Courtney Knight will be speaking to this paper.
Great. Okay. Questions or requests for information from my colleagues? All right. Moving right along, that takes us to resolutions. This resolution by Councilmember Bakhtiari and others regarding the Starbucks unionization effort. Ms. Bakhtiari, will you be speaking to this, or will be someone else from the department?
I'm happy to speak to it.
Very good.
In fact, I think Councilmember Shook's in support. I think he wanted to actually speak to the bill.
Don't poke the tiger. Okay. Very good. Any questions or requests from information for this paper on Wednesday? All right. Item 22-R3254, my paper, and this is the 5-year financial plan. Obviously, we'll get a presentation for that. Any questions or requests from information in advance of that presentation? I believe Finance, you're making your way through committee members with briefings ahead of Wednesday, right?
Yep.
Very good. Other questions or requests? Okay, item 20, which is 22-R3256. This is the FY23 budget council priorities. Colleagues, if you have not already done so, please get your thoughts or input over to Ms. Kempson Wright. She has received some feedback from some other council members, but we'll want to incorporate that so she can send that out tomorrow in tomorrow's packet. Any questions on that? Okay. Item 21, 22-R3335, committee paper for New South Synergy for $55 million. This is for aviation. Who from aviation will be speaking to this one?
Mr. Chairman, Michael Smith, I'll be speaking toward that.
I understand that we don't have the iPro documentation yet. Do we think we'll have it by tomorrow so that we can act on this on Wednesday?
We're expecting.
Hi, this is Shannon Mangold from the Office of the Inspector General. Yes, it's anticipated that it will be ready in advance of the meeting, sufficient in time for tomorrow's circulation.
Okay, great. Thank you. Questions or requests from my colleagues on that one? All right, item 22-R3336, committee paper for Accelerland management. This one, it's under $1 million, so it does not need iPro from what I understand, and it should be ready to go. Questions or requests for information from my colleagues? Who from the department is going to be presenting this? Is someone from planning?
Yes, replaced with the Office of Buildings, Director of Office of Buildings, I'll be presenting.
Okay, I'm sorry, who was that? I didn't